What if an ancient civilization described a planet that astronomers are only now beginning to search for? Thousands of years before telescopes existed, the Sumerians carved detailed astronomical symbols onto clay tablets. Most historians believe these tablets describe religious beliefs and observations of the night sky. But one group of ancient inscriptions has become the center of one of history's biggest mysteries, because some researchers believe it may reference a hidden world beyond the known planets. Today, that mystery has returned for one reason. Modern astronomers are once again searching for a massive undiscovered planet at the edge of our solar system. The story begins in ancient Mesopotamia more than 5,000 years ago. The Sumerians developed one of humanity's first writing systems, built advanced cities, tracked the movements of the sun, moon, and visible planets, and recorded much of their knowledge on clay tablets. Among thousands of surviving tablets are astronomical texts and symbolic star maps that continue to be studied today. Most scholars interpret these texts as religious or observational records. But alternative researchers noticed something unusual. One particular seal, often called VA-243, appears to show a large central star surrounded by multiple circular objects. Supporters of the Planet X theory argue that the carving represents the solar system and includes an additional planet unknown to modern astronomy at the time. Mainstream Assyriologists disagree. Most experts believe the symbols are not a scientific map at all, and that the circles represent stars or decorative religious imagery rather than planets. But the theory refused to disappear. Instead, it became connected to another mysterious name, Nibiru. According to later alternative interpretations, Nibiru is a massive hidden planet following an extremely elongated orbit around the Sun. Some versions of the theory claim it returns to the inner solar system every several thousand years, and was associated with the mysterious Anunnaki described in Sumerian mythology. There is no scientific evidence supporting those claims, but then astronomy introduced an unexpected twist. In 2016, astronomers Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown proposed the existence of an undiscovered world far beyond Neptune after noticing something strange about several distant icy objects. Instead of moving randomly, their orbits appeared clustered in ways that should be statistically unlikely. One possible explanation was gravity from an unseen planet. Researchers estimate that if this object exists, it could be between 5 and 10 times the mass of Earth and orbit hundreds of astronomical units from the Sun. At that distance, it would take somewhere between 10,000 and 20,000 years to complete a single orbit. Because it would reflect almost no sunlight, finding it directly is extremely difficult. That is why astronomers continue searching today. NASA has repeatedly stated that Planet 9 remains a hypothesis, not a confirmed discovery. No telescope has directly observed the planet, and several competing explanations exist for the unusual orbital patterns seen beyond Neptune. Even so, new surveys continue narrowing the search area. Powerful observatories such as the Subaru telescope in Hawaii and the recently launched Vera C. Rubin Observatory are expected to dramatically improve the search for distant solar system objects over the coming years. And every new update brings the Planet X story back into the headlines. Supporters of the Nibiru theory argue that ancient civilizations somehow knew about the hidden planet long before modern astronomy. Scientists disagree. There is no accepted evidence that Sumerian tablets describe Planet 9, Nibiru, or any undiscovered world. But there is one coincidence that continues to fascinate people. Ancient texts speak about mysterious celestial bodies connected with powerful beings from the heavens. Modern astronomers are genuinely searching for a large unseen planet hidden in the darkness beyond Neptune. The two stories are completely unrelated according to mainstream science. Yet every time astronomers discover another unusual object in the outer solar system, people return to those ancient clay tablets looking for answers. And perhaps that is why the mystery has survived for thousands of years. Not because anyone has proven that Planet X exists, but because both archaeology and astronomy continue pointing toward the same place. A vast region of our solar system that humanity still knows remarkably little about.
So, we might be getting closer to finding a massive icy planet beyond Neptune's orbit. Sorry Pluto, still not you. Recently, some universe mapping using data from a telescope in Hawaii eliminated about 78% of the possible locations for this mysterious Waldo from space. Some people call it Planet 9, while others prefer Planet X. Either way, it's been causing controversy since its existence was first proposed, and that is mainly because no study so far can answer the big question: does it really exist? If discovered, Planet 9 would rank as the fifth largest planet in our solar system, with a mass 10 times that of Earth. It's also theorized to be gaseous, like Uranus. The initial study on Planet 9, dating back to 2016, suggests that this colossal new planet orbits the Sun 29 times farther out than Neptune, which sits at about 2.8 billion miles. As a result, the Planet 9 would take between 10,000 and 20,000 years to complete a single orbit around the Sun. If confirmed, this yet-to-be-understood world would dominate a region larger than any other known planet in our cosmic neighborhood. These are all intriguing hypotheses, but without a single piece of evidence or observation to back them up. Before dismissing this as a wild guess, it is important to note that these researchers relied on complex mathematical modeling and computer simulations to speculate about the planet's characteristics, because that's what they do. The hypothetical presence of this planet would explain various mysterious features located beyond Neptune. We are specifically talking about the Kuiper Belt, a huge donut-shaped region filled with icy debris left over from the formation of the solar system, including comets and dwarf planets like Pluto. What happens is that the 6 farthest objects in the Kuiper Belt exhibit elliptical orbits that are all oriented in a similar direction within physical space and tilted approximately 30 degrees downward relative to the orbital plane of our 8 known planets. What's strange here is that, despite their distinct orbital velocities around the solar system, they maintain this alignment. The likelihood of such alignment occurring randomly is extremely low, around 0.007%. So, here comes Planet 9, a hypothetical massive celestial body that offers a plausible explanation for this strange phenomenon, potentially exerting gravitational influence to shape these orbits. The initial theory didn't hold up for long, facing accusations of observational bias and calculation errors. Then, in 2017, another study popped up, sparking back the idea that maybe Planet 9 is out there after all. This time, Spanish astronomers tried a novel approach, focusing on observing extreme trans-Neptunian objects. These celestial bodies orbit the Sun in highly stretched elliptical paths, with average distances exceeding 13 billion miles. The research suggests that the distances between these objects' nodes and the Sun might provide clues to Planet 9's location. You see, these nodes are the points where a celestial body's orbit intersects the solar system's plane. When these objects reach these points, they're more likely to interact with other solar system bodies, potentially causing significant changes in their orbits or even collisions. So, if the trajectory of these extreme trans-Neptunian objects remains stable, everything's fine. But if it's not, well, that's a sign that something else, something big, is messing with their path. And that's exactly what the research found. There is something unseen out there, throwing these objects off course. And that something could be a planet, chilling at a distance between 300 to 400 times farther from the Sun than Earth. To this day, the study of the extreme trans-Neptunian objects is the strongest evidence we've got for Planet 9's existence. And if you're still not convinced by this theory, know that strange motions like these have led to planetary discoveries before. Neptune, for instance, was spotted because Uranus's motion didn't quite agree with the predictions of Newtonian gravity. But the deflection of its orbit could be explained if it was caused by a pull of an undiscovered planet. And just like that, we discovered Neptune. Now, the year is 2021, and there's all this buzz about Planet 9 again. After correcting some old guesses, studies are now leaning towards the idea that this mystery world follows an epic loop around the Sun every 7,000 years. That is massive news, because it means this planet might be closer than we ever thought, making it easier for our telescopes to spot it. The paper also suggests there is a whopping 99% chance that the funky orbits of these distant objects are all because of this unseen planet, not just some cosmic coincidence. Now, the odds of this whole situation being a fluke are down to a 1 in 250 chance, which is much better than the 1 in 10,000 chance back in 2016. All these optimistic numbers have brought us to where we are today, keeping our hopes and working on better equipment to continue the mission of spotting Planet 9. As mentioned earlier, researchers in Hawaii created some kind of treasure map utilizing the Panoramic Survey Telescope and Rapid Response System to eliminate 78% of its locations. This is great news, considering how challenging it is to find a planet-sized needle in a cosmic haystack. But unfortunately, Planet 9's presence remains a ghost in the dark outer reaches of our solar system. Enthusiasts are still convinced of its existence and believe it is only a matter of time before we celebrate the discovery of Earth's new cosmic cousin. They're putting their hopes on the Vera C. Rubin Observatory, which is currently under construction in Chile and is scheduled to begin science operations in late 2025. Over the course of 10 years, this observatory will scan the entire southern hemisphere sky every few nights with a 27-foot, fast-moving telescope equipped with the largest digital camera in the world. The idea is to catalog everything in the solar system, reaching out to and beyond Neptune, and tracking the movements of millions of celestial objects, including space junk, asteroids, comets, and stars. If Planet 9 is indeed out there, this next-generation telescope could be the one to find it. The existence of this mysterious planet is far from being universally accepted in the scientific community. That is simply because Planet 9 isn't the only explanation for the strange phenomenon occurring beyond Neptune. One theory suggests that a group of distant objects, such as dwarf planets, comets, and moons, might be collectively influencing the orbits of the extreme trans-Neptunian objects. Others believe that a black hole is behind all this. These compressed masses are some of the densest objects in the universe, potentially capable of affecting the orbits of other masses, like how this supposed ghost Planet 9 is believed to be doing. Another bold perspective suggests that our current understanding of the laws of gravity is flawed, actually incomplete. This theory, known as modified Newtonian dynamics, proposes that these distant icy objects exhibit strange behavior not due to influence from another planet, but rather because the immense gravitational field of the Milky Way is influencing them. However, even supporters of this theory acknowledge that it is too early to draw firm conclusions, and much more extensive research is still required. While we continue our relentless hunt for Planet 9, some astronomers have taken it a step further, suggesting the existence of a hypothetical Planet 10. This world has a mass and size like that of Mars or Earth and is located on the edges of the Kuiper Belt. But the thing is, if this alleged Planet 10 is indeed as small as scientists believe, it might not have enough gravity to clear its orbit of debris. And that is pretty similar to what happens with Pluto, being one of the reasons why it got into trouble back in 2006. So yeah, it's better not to get too excited. This supposed Planet 10 might end up classified as another dwarf planet. Now, if Earth were the size of a nickel, Neptune would be about as big as a baseball. That's impressive, but it's nothing compared to the giant ninth planet that might be hiding out there. Now, our Planet 9's discovery saga might have finally come to an end. Turns out, the problem wasn't where we were looking, but how. And researchers might have just made the biggest solar system discovery in decades. You see, the idea of finding a planet beyond Neptune has been around for years now. I know, back in school, you probably learned that the 9th planet was Pluto. But forget about Pluto. It's been demoted to a less fancy category since 2006. What I'm talking about is the Planet 9, a hypothetical giant planet that could be our cosmic neighbor. We've never actually seen it, but scientists are pretty sure it's out there somewhere, hiding in the outer solar system. To explain why they think that, we need a sheet of paper. Hey, here's one. We place a coin on it, and suddenly, it starts to move. Unless we're talking about some kind of superpower, there's no way this coin is moving on its own, right? So, you figure someone must be on the other side, holding a magnet and moving it around. You can't see the magnet, but it explains why the coin is moving. That's kind of what's happening with Planet 9. We can't see it, we can't prove it, yet, but its existence could explain the strange movements we see out there in space. For example, the planets in our solar system orbit on a flat plane that's tilted about 6 degrees relative to the Sun. But why 6 degrees? Well, no one really knows for sure. Some scientists think those orbits might be slightly tilted because of the pull of a 9th planet. Its existence could also explain the unusual paths of smaller objects in the distant Kuiper Belt, a region full of icy debris that stretches far beyond Neptune's orbit. Back in 2016, researchers from Caltech published a study about Planet 9. They suggested it could have a mass about 10 times that of Earth and follow a highly elongated path. That's a scientific way of saying it takes forever to make one trip around the Sun. Because of that, it would be located in the outer solar system. I mean, far, far away. It would orbit the Sun about 20 to 30 times farther out than our most distant planet, Neptune. According to scientists, Planet 9 would take up to 20,000 Earth years to complete just one full orbit around the Sun. Since it's crazy far out there, it's almost impossible to see it. So, as cool as this hypothesis sounds, we've never found solid evidence that Planet 9 actually exists. But we might be pretty close. In May 2025, a team at National Tsinghua University might have made one of the most exciting solar system discoveries ever. Alright, so there's a hypothesis that Planet 9 hasn't been discovered yet because we haven't been using the right method. This new study raises an interesting question. What if Planet 9 actually looks brighter in infrared light than it does in visible light? Let me explain. Scientists have been trying to spot Planet 9 by its reflected light. But here's the problem. To spot it in visible wavelengths, sunlight would have to travel all the way out to Planet 9, bounce off its surface, and then travel all the way back to Earth. If a Neptune-sized planet were about 10 times farther away than Neptune, it would look about 10,000 times fainter. But a planet's own thermal radiation, its heat, only has to make a one-way trip. So in infrared light, Planet 9 would only be about 100 times fainter. That's why it makes more sense to look for it using space-based infrared telescopes. And that's the idea behind this new study. The team started digging through archives, searching for old infrared sky survey data, and they pulled it from two main sources. First, IRIS, a satellite launched in the 80s that scanned the sky for almost a year. Then, the Japanese satellite Akari, another infrared observatory that operated between 2006 and 2011. So basically, they compared objects that showed up in IRIS database and noticed which ones had moved by the time Akari took its observations. And by doing that, the researchers found something incredible, an object that might just be our long-lost 9th planet. Because if something moves, it could be a planet orbiting the Sun, right? And yeah, they did find some celestial objects showing tiny movements. But before jumping to conclusions, they had to rule out the parallax effect. And that's something really important when we're talking about solar system discoveries. To explain it, I need you to do something. Hold one finger in front of your face. Close one eye, and now switch. Your finger seems to move a tiny bit, right? That's because you're looking at it from a slightly different angle, from one eyeball to the other. The same thing happens when we look out into space from Earth. Since our planet orbits the Sun, our view of very distant objects shifts just a little. That effect is called parallax. My point is, because of this effect, Planet 9 would appear to move across the sky as Earth goes around the Sun. On any given day, it might seem to be in one spot, but 6 months later, when Earth is on the opposite side of the Sun, it would look like it shifted. 6 months after that, it would seem to move back again. Scientists had to account for parallax. Actually, they had to remove its effects. So the team looked at images of the sky taken on the same date every year. Because on that same date, Earth is always in the same spot in its orbit. That means if Planet 9 is real, it would show up in the same place in those images every year. No fake wiggle from parallax, just its real position. This careful search led them to a single object, a tiny dot in the infrared data. This strange little spot had moved slightly along its orbit around the Sun over the 23 years between Iris and Akari. Wait, could that be it? Did astronomers just confirm a hidden planet? Well, maybe. But don't get too excited. The data we have on its motion over that time is not enough to figure out its full orbit. So, for now, we still can't say for sure if this mysterious object is really Planet 9. It's definitely a strong candidate, though. Based on how bright the object appears, the team estimates it could be pretty massive, and that came as a big surprise. You see, previous NASA research ruled out any Jupiter-sized or Saturn-sized planets hiding out there, but a smaller world would have gone undetected. So the scientists were looking for something just a bit bigger than Earth. But it turns out this mysterious planet might be more massive than Neptune. Now that they've discovered Planet 9, supposedly at least, the plan is to keep tracking it and collecting new data. But don't think the road ahead will be easy. Because since the Akari satellite spotted it for the first time, that object didn't just sit still. It's been moving slowly through space ever since. So now scientists need to use regular telescopes on Earth to look for it again. And here's the tricky part. They're not exactly sure where it moved to, so they have to search a pretty big patch of the sky. And so far, no matching object has been found. Whether this really turns out to be the Planet 9 discovery or not, only time will tell. For now, its existence is still up for debate. But with powerful new technology on the way, like NASA's Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope, astronomers are more determined than ever to uncover the truth. And if Planet 9 really is out there, hiding in the cold, dark edges of our solar system, it's running out of places to hide.
Have you heard about Planet 9? No, not Pluto. We're talking about something lurking on the outskirts of the solar system. A mysterious planet that exists in our solar system that we haven't yet discovered. We've been looking for it for years, but finally, it seems like scientists found a key to solve this mystery. Planet 9 is a hypothetical planet. Astronomers have been on the hunt for it for quite some time now. But it's so elusive that they've only been able to piece together a few details about its potential characteristics. One thing we do know is that Planet 9 has to be a massive world, possibly up to 10 times the mass of Earth. That's one big planet. It's also thought to be a distant wanderer, hanging out somewhere between Neptune and Pluto. Some scientists think that Planet 9 might actually be a mini Neptune, with a thick, gaseous atmosphere and a rocky core. Others speculate that it could be an icy world with a solid, frozen surface and a thick layer of hydrogen and helium gas. Of course, since we haven't actually found Planet 9 yet, we can't say for sure what it's like. We're not even sure that it even exists. Some say it's just a myth, like the Tooth Fairy or the Easter Bunny, but others are convinced that it's out there somewhere. And at the end of the day, we're not entirely sure if Planet 9 is even a planet. It might be a special kind of black hole or made entirely of dark matter. The search for Planet 9 began in the early 21st century when a group of astronomers realized that something wasn't quite right with the outer reaches of our solar system. They noticed that some distant objects known as trans-Neptunian objects, were behaving in unexpected ways. Trans-Neptunian objects, or TNOs, are like the cosmic version of those items in the back of your fridge that you forgot about for years. They're small, icy bodies that hang out in the Kuiper Belt, beyond Neptune. So, scientists noticed that these guys started behaving weirdly. At first, they thought it might be a fluke. But as they dug deeper, they began to suspect that there was a ninth planet lurking out there. Why haven't we discovered it yet, you ask? Well, it may be because of Planet 9's weird orbit. All the other 8 planets orbit the Sun in roughly the same plane, which is like a flat disk. However, our hypothetical friend's orbit is different. It might be tilted and move in a different direction compared to the other planets. Its orbit might also be stretched out like an oval, rather than being nearly circular like usual. Because of this, Planet 9 might spend most of its time far from the Sun, like a true introvert. It only comes relatively close to the inner solar system every few thousand years. This would make it super faint and hard to spot, so the only way we may discover it is by studying the gravitational effects it has on our solar system. And this isn't the first time astronomers have gone looking for a new planet. Back in the 19th century, there was a similar hunt for a hypothetical Planet X. But this time, they were armed with much better technology and a much better sense of humor. They began calling their elusive quarry Planet 9, which was much catchier than Planet X. They even came up with a hashtag for the search, Pluto Lives. It was a reference to the fact that Pluto had been kicked from the planet gang and some astronomers were eager to find a new planet to take its place. But the search for Planet 9 has been no easy task. It's like trying to find a lost sock in the laundry basket the size of a football stadium. It's so far away and so faint that even the most powerful telescopes can't see it. Instead, astronomers have had to rely on indirect evidence, like the strange orbits of TNOs, to try to figure out where it might be. Some scientists have even supposed that it might be a wandering rogue planet, which would explain why it's so hard to find. But they haven't given up hope. Till this day, they're scouring the skies using all sorts of high-tech telescopes and fancy algorithms to try and spot this elusive planet. And fear not, dear curious human, because it looks like after so many years of research, we may have finally found the key to solve this mystery. Astronomer Man Ho Chan from Hong Kong has a theory. He believes that Planet 9 could have a bevy of moons. That's right, not only is it a giant planet hiding out in the depths of space, but it's also a bit of a hoarder. Moons are all the rage in the outer solar system. In fact, almost every planet here has at least one moon, except for Mercury and Venus. Earth has just one, which is kind of sad if you think about it. Even non-planetary bodies like Pluto have at least a couple of moons. A bit unfair, isn't it? Anyway, taking this into account, let's go moon picking with Planet 9. The region between the rock-filled Kuiper Belt and the rock-filled Oort cloud, where this planet is predicted to be, should be ripe for the picking. Chan made some calculations and determined that it would be stranger if the elusive planet didn't have any satellites. According to his calculations, an object the mass of Planet 9 should capture at least 20 TNOs as large as almost 90 miles across. It's like our mysterious planet is playing cosmic Pokemon with these guys. So, what if Planet 9 has moons? Would that make any difference? Kinda, yes. They could give us some indirect clues to finally locate this mysterious planet. Now, you might be thinking, how in the cosmos can we possibly spot these teeny tiny moons? It's not like they're going to wave a giant flag or blast some Beyoncé tunes to get our attention. Well, apparently the key lies in something called tidal heating. Tidal heating might sound like a new workout trend, but it's a real scientific phenomenon. It happens when two celestial bodies are close together. You see, tides aren't just about the rise and fall of the ocean, they're also the result of gravity pulling unevenly on a planet or moon. When a planet and a moon are close enough to each other, their gravity pulls on each other, creating a bit of a football shape. And as these celestial bodies move around each other, they shift shape and generate friction inside, which produces heat. Wow, who knew that Planet 9 could have a workout routine? Perhaps we should start calling it Gym Planet instead. Anyway, if Planet 9 has any moons, the gravitational pull from these moons would cause it to change shape constantly, generating heat in the process. And we might be able to detect this mysterious planet through the heat produced by those moons, even though it gives off no other signals. Now, before you get too excited, finding them won't be a walk in the park. They're incredibly small and would be very far away from us. But hey, nothing worth discovering ever came easy, right? Scientists are optimistic that with the right technology, they can spot this telltale sign. It will be easier for us to spot them with fancy instruments like modern telescopes. Talk about cool friends to have, right? Sure, the process of finding it may be difficult and time-consuming, but the potential payoff is huge. Finding this planet could explain a lot of the strange behavior observed in TNOs, the Kuiper Belt, and beyond. As we've already mentioned, they've been acting super weird lately, tilting and aligning in suspicious ways. If this planet doesn't actually exist, we have yet to explain what is the reason for this strange behavior. In any case, the search for Planet 9 is one of the most exciting and intriguing quests in modern astronomy. It's like a cosmic scavenger hunt, and everyone's invited to join in on the fun. So, grab your telescopes and let's go planet hunting. Who knows, maybe we'll find it sooner than we think.
Well, apparently Earth may not be the only place where you can have a glass of water. Scientists found one more world that looks very promising, because it might have liquid water on its surface. Even Mars can't compete with that. This planet is not too far from Earth and orbits a star called JG 887. Look, this is Earth and this is the Sun. Zooming out, see this speck of light? It's this star we're talking about. This star is 10.7 light-years away from ours. For comparison, Earth is way less than 1 light-year away from the Sun. And a spacecraft could get us to the Sun in a few years. But with our modern technologies, we would need over 270,000 years to get to that star system. And still, that's close, by space standards of course. Scientists call the planet a super-Earth because it's bigger than our planet, more than 6 times the mass of Earth. That's heavy enough to have strong gravity and a thick atmosphere. Another interesting thing is that, unlike many stars of its type, GJ 887 doesn't flare up much. Big stellar flares can blast away a planet's atmosphere. The fewer flares there are, the better chance a planet has of holding on to air, water, and maybe even life. When astronomers talk about the habitable zone around a star, they mean a spot that is not too hot and not too cold, where water could exist on the surface. But water isn't just about temperature. You also need air. Without an atmosphere, any water would evaporate or boil away instantly. According to researchers, the star's planet, JG 887d, might actually have an atmosphere, which makes it a true habitable zone planet. Now, scientists already found 2 other planets around the same star back in 2020. But both were too close to the star, way too hot for liquid water to survive on their surfaces. The research also hinted at a 3rd planet around this star. But at first, scientists weren't completely sure it was real. They thought the data could have been a fluke or weird blips in the measurements. But after 5 more years of watching the star, the planet was confirmed. It orbits its star every 51 days or so you'd celebrate your birthday once every 51 days there. It's even shorter than a year on Mercury, which means the planet is very close to its star. Then why doesn't it burn up and could even host life? The thing is, the star GJ 887 is smaller and dimmer than our Sun. That's why it doesn't blast this third planet with heat. So even with a shorter orbit, the planet's temperatures should be only a little warmer than those on Earth. Now, the good news is that the conditions on this new super-Earth might actually allow water to pool somewhere instead of evaporating immediately. No wonder this discovery is a big deal. For one thing, we might finally find life beyond Earth. Because where there's liquid water, there's a good chance of life. Plus, if we ever had to leave Earth, GJ 887d could be a strong contender for our new planet. Now, one big problem for planets around small stars is flares. Many red dwarfs blast their planets with intense bursts of radiation, stripping away any atmosphere. Without air, water can't stick around, and life doesn't have any chance to survive. That's probably why Proxima b, the nearest planet outside our solar system, likely has no atmosphere at all. But GJ 887 is unusually calm. It doesn't flare like other small stars. Of course, this might just be temporary, or it could last for billions of years. Either way, it makes GJ 887d more promising for holding on to air. The planet is also heavy, which means a lot of gravity. It would make launching rockets tricky, and it wouldn't be an easy feat to go for a walk there. But heavier gravity is also good for keeping a thick atmosphere. If it developed on the planet, it could protect the surface and trap just enough heat. Unlike some planets, our guy doesn't pass in front of its star from our point of view. That means we can't easily measure its atmosphere by seeing how the starlight filters through it. Instead, astronomers need to use the radial velocity method, which detects tiny wobbles in the star caused by the planet's gravity. We still have a lot to learn about this world that might turn into a top travel destination one day. Every year, astronomers discover new planets outside our solar system. So far, we've found over 6,000 exoplanets, planets orbiting stars other than the Sun. What interests us the most are planets that could host life, or at least have the right conditions for it. The big goal is finding stable liquid water on the surface, not frozen solid or boiling away into space. For water to stay liquid, a planet can't be too far from its star. Too far and all the water will freeze into ice. Too close and it will boil off like water on a stove. And since every star is different, each one has its own habitable zone depending on its size, temperature, and brightness. So far, telescopes around the world have found about 70 planets in a habitable zone. But only 30 of them are rocky, like Earth, where oceans might actually exist. The thing is, only rocky planets can have oceans because they have a solid surface where water can collect. Plus, such planets also have gravity, which helps keep water in liquid form. Without it, water would quickly evaporate into space or free solid. Now, having these conditions doesn't mean life is guaranteed. Venus and Mars are technically in the Sun's habitable zone, but Venus is a roasting oven and Mars is a frozen desert. Life there seems unlikely. Or take this planet, for example. This super-Earth is 20 light-years away. Astronomers spotted it in January 2025 using telescopes at ESO in Chile. At first, it sounded very promising, but the planet's orbit is very stretched out, like a long oval. That means it swings in and out of the habitable zone during its year. When it's far from its star, freezing winter lasts forever, not exactly life-friendly. But even a perfect orbit isn't always enough. In the Gliese 667c system, 22 light-years away, astronomers found 3 planets in the habitable zone. But one, its planet F, is tidally locked. One side always faces the star and is scorching hot. The other side is in permanent shadow, freezing cold. Life could only survive in a thin strip between the two regions, or if strong winds spread heat across the planet. A true habitable planet also needs protection from cosmic rays, like a magnetic field and a thick atmosphere. Otherwise, radiation from the star will fry any chance of life. Take the TRAPPIST-1 system, discovered in 2016. 3 planets orbit in the habitable zone, but TRAPPIST-1b is tidally locked, gets blasted by stellar radiation, and has no atmosphere at all. The other 2 planets might have atmospheres, but we don't know yet if they can block out harmful radiation. Red dwarf stars, small, cool, dim, and also the most common in our galaxy, make things trickier. Their habitable zones are close to the star, so any planets there get hit by strong solar flares. Our closest potential second home, Proxima Centauri b, faces this problem. Unfortunately, it doesn't transit or cross its star from Earth's point of view, so we really can't study its atmosphere or see if it can protect life. And even planets that tick all the boxes, the perfect orbit, habitable zone, atmosphere, can still be nightmarish, like Venus. A circular orbit, habitable zone, thick atmosphere, and yet it's basically an oven with crushing pressure inside. Even Earth itself isn't perfect for life everywhere. The North and South poles are freezing. The Atacama Desert is almost completely dry, so life struggles there too. That's why astronomers aren't stopping at planets in the habitable zone. They're now hunting for signs of life in the air. Certain gases can hint at life. CO2 and methane might come from biology, or they might not. Some gases, like dimethyl sulfide, are thought to come only from living things, but scientists aren't 100% sure. So, the tricky part is, how can we tell if a gas is made by life or by rocks and chemistry alone? Well, we've got new telescopes, like ESO's Extremely Large Telescope. They can give us much more detail. They could help us find more planets in the temperate zone and even reveal certain traits that would tell us if a planet is truly habitable.
Imagine if there was another Earth hiding almost next door to us. A world where oceans, forests, or even life might already exist. Sounds like science fiction, but astronomers may have found one of the best candidates yet. This new world is called GJ3378b. It has a crazy short year, only 21.5 Earth days. That's because it orbits extremely close to its star, just 0.097 AU away. For comparison, Earth is about 1 AU from the Sun, so this planet is roughly 10 times closer. Because of that, while Earth completes one orbit, GJ3378b completes about 17. If you were 30 years old on Earth, you'd be 510 in the planet's calendar after just one Earth year, and you'd celebrate your birthday every 3 weeks. This might sound like Interstellar, where time moved more slowly near a black hole. But GJ3378b is completely different. Its short year has nothing to do with time slowing down, it's just moving quickly around a small star. You wouldn't actually age faster, and both your body and your clock would work normally. The planet just has a much shorter year. Another surprising thing is that even though it's super close to its star, GJ3378b receives only about 90% of the sunlight Earth gets. That's because its star is a red dwarf, much smaller and dimmer than our sun. The planet needs to stay close to get enough warmth, which places it in the star's habitable zone, where liquid water could potentially exist. But there's a catch. Red dwarf stars can be pretty turbulent. They often blast nearby planets with powerful bursts of radiation. If that happens often, this radiation is likely to slowly destroy a planet's atmosphere. And without an atmosphere, no life can survive on the surface. So, is GJ337b anything like Earth? Right now, we don't really know. Scientists have only figured out 2 things: how massive the planet is and how it moves around its star. It could have oceans, clouds, and maybe even life. Or it could be a dry, airless world covered in craters. Another cool thing is how they found this world. The planet is so small and so far away that astronomers can't actually see it directly. Instead, they spotted its gravity tugging on its star. Imagine a small dog. suddenly pulling on its leash. The pup's owner is much bigger, but they still wobble a little. That's exactly what happens here. As GJ337b orbits, its gravity makes the star wobble a bit. Modern telescopes can detect this tiny motion by studying the star's light. And from that tiny wobble, astronomers can tell that there's an invisible planet there. When scientists first discovered GJ337b in 2024, they thought it was about 5 times heavier than Earth. That would make it a mini Neptune, a planet that doesn't have a solid surface and is covered in thick layers of gas instead. But now, new observations have changed the picture. Astronomers took a closer look with 2 different telescopes and discovered that the planet is actually only about 2.3 times the mass of Earth. This means it's much more likely to be a rocky super-Earth instead of a gas giant. Another big question is whether GJ337b has an atmosphere. Normally, astronomers can check this by watching a planet pass in front of its star. The starlight shines through the planet's atmosphere, and different gases leave tiny fingerprints in the light. That's how telescopes like the James Webb Space Telescope study the atmospheres of distant planets. But GJ337b never passes in front of its star from our point of view. So we'll likely have to wait until the 2040s when NASA plans to launch a new space telescope. It's called the Habitable Worlds Observatory, and it's designed to study nearby Earth-like planets in detail. At the same time, since GJ337b sits near the edge of the danger zone around its star, it may have avoided the strongest blasts of radiation and managed to hold on to its atmosphere. If that's true, this world might become one of the best places to search for signs of life. But as promising as it sounds, this isn't the only planet that could support life, or become humanity's Plan B. Meet GJ887d, a super-Earth. This term means that this world is bigger than our planet, more than 6 times the mass of Earth. This larger size means its gravity could be strong enough to hold on to an atmosphere. Another great thing is that its parent star, GJ887, doesn't flare up much. We already know that big stellar flares can blast away a planet's atmosphere, so the fewer flares there are, the better chance a planet has of holding on to air, water, and maybe even life. Researchers claim that GJ887d might indeed have an atmosphere. This makes it a true habitable zone planet. The good news is that the conditions on this new super-Earth might actually allow water to pool somewhere instead of evaporating immediately. And where there's liquid water, the chances of finding life are much higher. So if we ever had to leave Earth, GJ887d could be a strong contender for our new home. Another place we might visit one day is called Proxima b, and it orbits the closest star to our solar system, Proxima Centauri. Astronomers discovered this planet in 2016, and it became one of the most exciting planets ever found right away. All because it looks surprisingly similar to Earth. It's a rocky planet, only a little more massive than ours. Even more importantly, it orbits in what's called the habitable zone. But there's a catch. Proxima Centauri is a red dwarf. It's much smaller and cooler than our Sun, so Proxima b has to orbit extremely close to stay warm. A whole year there lasts just 11 days. Such a close distance to its parent star creates a serious problem. Proxima b is likely to be tidally locked. It means that one side always faces the star, so it's stuck in permanent daylight, and the other side never sees the star at all and stays in endless darkness. So if life exists there, it has to survive in the narrow region between the two zones, in a place that's never too hot and never too cold. Another problem is stellar flares. If Proxima Centauri emits these powerful bursts of radiation often, they could slowly eat away the planet's atmosphere. Luckily, researchers think Proxima b may have a magnetic field. And a magnetic field works like a giant invisible shield. For example, our planet's magnetic field protects us by pushing many of the sun's dangerous particles away. Without it, our atmosphere would slowly disappear into space. If Proxima b has such a shield too, it could survive the constant attacks from its star and remain habitable. But there's another planet that's getting scientists just as excited. It's called GJ251c, and it's one of the most promising worlds we've found so far. It's a super-Earth, and the first thing astronomers check when they stumble across a planet like that is if it's rocky like Earth or just another ball of gas like Neptune. Because so far, Earth is still the only rocky world we know that actually supports life. The second question they ask is whether liquid water could exist there, because water is the ultimate life ingredient. Now, finding a planet that checks both boxes is super rare. Out of the thousands of exoplanets discovered so far, only a tiny handful hit that sweet spot. So when astronomers realized GJ251c might be one of those few, and sitting a mere 18 light-years away, they got kinda hyped. There's another interesting thing about this planet. It appears to have powerful gravity, and this extra gravity might help it keep a thicker atmosphere, which means better protection from cosmic rays and radiation. So, who knows? Maybe one day our descendants will call this planet Earth 2.0.